What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another Dota 1 commentary brought to you by yours truly, B-Ballin, and this is from the GEST Qualifiers. And in this game, as I unpause, we have TA on the Sentinel side versus Mango.Esports on Scourge. TA is an Indonesian team, meanwhile Mango.Esports is from Thailand. So I know by the time I post this, it most likely will be GEST August already. And man, it's been too soon, too soon. I've casted too many Dota 1 games recently. But hey, people want it, so I'm here to entertain the people. And so this matchup is from the qualifiers. It will serve as a warm-up. It got a pretty high rating on GhostGames.net. And hopefully it deserved that high rating because, you know, oftentimes these days ratings are artificially inflated by fans of respective teams. But anyway, hopefully this game will prove to be very entertaining and give us some nice insight on how different teams will play. And I think how the qualifiers work out is that the top 4 teams from the qualifiers make it into certain groups of the GEST. So the top qualifier will make from one region will make it into group A, the other one will make it group B, etc, etc, etc. But anyway, I have not honestly heard of TA Mango.Esports. I've seen their name from time to time. I've now looked through their pick and ban information, so I have not done my research on that part. My bad, guys. But it's okay, because we will find out soon enough what these teams decide to go for. So, Lycanthrope and Quiddy Painter are the opening bans for TA. Meanwhile, Mango.Esports decides to ban out the Earthshaker, Invoker, and the Windrunner. So this leaves a lot of picks to be open, but keep in mind that these heroes are not from the Philippines, or these teams are not from the Philippines, so we're not going to see standard Filipino picks. We might still see Dragon Knight, and yeah, we do see the Naga Siren ban. Such an annoying hero in both the Dota 1 and Dota 2, just so strong in every aspect of the game. Early game has the net and Riptide, mid game has Riptide and Song of Siren with the net and the mirror images that scale, and late game, Song and Siren just becomes totally annoying to deal with. So Naga Siren seeing the ban is not going to be too uncommon, and she has definitely seen her ban in the Dota 2 pool as well. On Nature's Prophet, or Prophet, Furion is the opening pickup by Mango.Esports. This is quite curious because the Southeast Asian scene has not put as much emphasis on the Prophet. Prophet has seen time to time some play, mostly in part of global strategies. He can jungle, he can solo the mid lane. He's definitely not played nearly as much as he is in Dota 1, where he's seen or picked or banned pretty much every single game. But Prophet definitely has his uses in the right lineup, and we'll see if Mango.Esports decides to go for a pushing lineup. Meanwhile, No Fear immediately responds with the Morphling and Rubric counter pick. Now, Morphling is one of those carries that can counter Prophet quite well in the late stages of the game, just because his split pushing is so very powerful. But he's not a hard counter, and he does take time to ramp up. He needs to get that Linken's and Ethereal Blade going before he really starts packing a punch. So we'll see what Mango.Esports decides to do. Will they pick up some of their mid-game fight, or will they start going for their early-game supports, just to help them solidify their lanes? Because laning will be so important, especially against Morphling, and they really have to start thinking about their strategy right now, because Morphling, you never really want to fight him one-on-one in the late game if you can help it. And of course, that's the same with Rubik, as we see a Beastmaster, a very strong pickup by Mango.Esports. Beastmasters definitely see a resurgence play since the Dota 1 scene has ensued. So Beastmaster with the pickup, of course they're going to have that Roar 4-second stun and pretty short cooldown, 60 or 70-second cooldown, I can't remember, at its max level, and H-Snap version is the third pickup by Mango.Esports. So Beastmaster will most likely be slowing lane, and of course H-Snap version will be help supporting the lane. And it'll be interesting to see if Mango.Esports will run dual lanes or tri lanes. Of course, the Thai teams are known to run different lanes. They experiment with both dual and tri-lanes, rather than the Philippines who just sort of go with the tri-lanes 1-1. And hey, it's been working with them. They've won the last 4 GESTs, if I'm not mistaken. So there's definitely some merit in their success. But it's nice to see some variation, and we'll see if Mango.Esports decides to go into a different laning configuration rather than we see in typical games. Meanwhile, it looks like TA is thinking long and hard about this game, or how about this next pick to counter the H-Snap version of Beastmaster. And Beastmaster picks up a Blink Dagger. This can be a very scary global lineup because Furion can teleport in from anywhere, have the H-Snap version Ice Blast, reinforcing the ganking prowess from anywhere on the map. So Vengeful Spirit is this pickup as a support. Vengeful Spirit's definitely seen her time in the sun fall off drastically as of late. Not a very strong laning harass hero, has short range, Of course, when you swap, you automatically lose one hero in a team fight. Of course, you get to eliminate some heroes, but you do want to keep your support heroes as long as possible, especially if you swap and the other hero has quick reactions. They can pop a BKB or a Blink Dagger, get right out of there. But still, that's not usually likely. But yeah, Venture Spirit not the strongest laning support, so it'll be interesting to see how TA decides to set this up. They could solo mid Rubik, they could do a tri-lane with Rubik, Venge, and Morphling, which would be a very, very strong tri-lane indeed, and allow Morphling pretty much unimpeded free farm. Meanwhile, Mango.Esports decides to ban out the Darkseer. They don't really have any heroes that synergize quite well with the Vacuum, and they don't really want to give No Fear a chance to get their hands on that mid-game powerhouse, the Darkseer, who's banned and picked in the first rounds of Dota 2. So it's definitely interesting to see to come back and forth between both games, just to take a look at the differences in opinions of both teams. And I'm gonna have to cast a Chinese Dota 2 game because I'm not familiar with their picking and banning phase nearly as much. But yeah, meanwhile, Broodmother, of course, a hero that's frequently seen in Dota 2 as well, is the last ban by Mango.Esports. Meanwhile, TA decides to ban out the Chaos Knight, knowing that he's very, very powerful in a dual mid lane with the Ancient Apparition. Of course, Reality Rift, in conjunction with the Cold Feet, allows Chaos Knight to save a lot of mana than he would use on Chaos Bolt, and of course, get a very, very nice setup into a kill. So, what's up guys? Hopefully you guys are doing well, and what are your favorites for GEST August? Let me know which games you want to cast. I'm not going to cast nearly as many games. I'm not going to cast 9 games, my god. I might cast the entire Grand Finals if I get enough requests, but I'm going to pick out 1 or 2 from the group stages, 1 or 2 from the playoffs, and maybe the entire Grand Finals, so maybe 4 or 5 max games from Dota 1, because there's a lot of Dota 2 stuff that I want to cover as well, especially as teams shape up for the International 2, so hopefully you won't be too disappointed, but I have a lot of new exciting content in store for you, so hopefully you'll be excited by that. And of course, a face video is actually coming out later this month, so keep subscribing and maybe you'll be able to see that face one of these days, you creepy motherfuckers. Oh my god. Dragon Knight is the final ban by TA, and looks like Mango.Esports is into the final stages of their second pick phase as they are waiting down the clock. What will they decide to go for? Right now they have a pretty solid mid-game lineup, and they decided to go for Tidehunter. So they're betting it all in the early laning phase and the mid-game. And right now they don't really have the most powerful lanes, so it's going to be interesting to see how they lane it, because Tidehunter, of course, not the best laner, Fira not the best laner, Beastmaster is strong laner, but he's usually in a solo lane, and he can win a solo lane, but if he's matched up against a dual lane, it'll be much more difficult to win that. So Tidehunter and Ancient Apparition going to give them some nice team fight. Of course, Ancient Apparition preventing any health regen or any healing, and Tidehunter with that edge sets up the Ice Blast so nicely. And in conjunction with Wrath of Nature and the Wild Axes, my god, heroes caught in that team fight will just have a dreadful time. So no fear, it's going to be interesting to see what they pick up, and Windrunner was the primary ban for Mango.Esports, so they need to look for another long lane solo. And since TA decided to ban out the Queen of Pain, TA of course being the Indonesian team, they decided to ban out the Queen of Pain. They're looking for a long lane solo, and I don't know if Indonesia decides to play similar to the Philippines where they'd go with the 3-1-1 setup. But Puck might be a strong counter pick. He's actually not too useful in this line, just because Tidehunter has Crack and Chill. AA stays very, very far back. Beastmaster really needs to drop in the Roar and just drop axes in his pets, and just he'll be tanky enough to survive that silence. So Puck wouldn't be the smartest pickup in this situation. So right now, looks like TA are thinking long and hard about who they want to pick up for their hard lane. And right now, they have a bit of a difficult time just because the team fight presence that their long lane solo would give them wouldn't be minimal, but it would be also useful because the Mango.Esports lanes are not the most solid, and you can definitely get more experience than you normally would if you are playing the long lane, hard lane solo. And they decided to pick up the Sand King, so we'll see if Sand King's in try. Most likely he's going to be soloing lane, but hey, Sand King or trying, not a huge fan of that, especially if he's trying to help out the Morphling where you'll get no farm. But you all know my thoughts on Tri-Lane Sand King, so I won't keep repeating them just to bore you to death. You know, Mango.Esports, will they pick up another teamfight hero? They kind of need another mid-game sort of DPS hero to give them a bit of physical, because a pipe will really shut down Mango.Esports unless they go for DPS Furion build. Maybe they'll go for one more sort of support and have Tidehunter solo lane. It's definitely a lot of flexibility that Mango.Esports can go with in their lineup. But right now, they do have to win the laning phase and the mid-game quite solidly, or else they won't stand a chance. when it comes to the later phases of the game, especially against Morphling and Venge, who are two of the strongest scaling heroes in the game. Venge, one of the best scaling supports, Morphling, one of the best scaling carries. So it's interesting to me because Mango.Esports, they're taking so much time with their picks, so this indicates that they haven't really practiced with their lineup, and not practicing with the lineup can make all the difference. And of course, maybe they're relying on some of the experience or some of the inexperience of TA, but just because, you know, these heroes in Southeast Asian scene aren't picked up or banned too often, Tidehunter, Beastmaster, Furion, it indicates that Mango.Esports doesn't practice this lineup too much, so we'll see what they decide to go for. But they went with the Lone Druid, the Syllabear, with their last pickup, just to give them some late game assurance and give them some nice burst of pushing power. And of course, he can solo lane. So overall, I really like this pickup of the Syllabear. Ideally, he'll get his relic before Morphling can finish his ethereal blade, because Morphling will want to go for that Lincoln Sphere first to counteract the Roar, to counteract the Cold Feet and the Gush. But still, not too many spells that can disable through Lincoln, so maybe he'll just go for straight BKB, but BKB does get shut down by Roar, so we'll see what item Morphling decides to go for to counter out this Lone Druid pickup. And Lina is the last pickup just to give them some anti-push and help them solidify their lane. So right now they have a lot of supports, they have a lot of disables also as well on the side of TA, so we'll introduce the players and teams right now. And looks like we have No Fear ZVR playing the Vengeful Spear on TA, Doots playing the Rubik, Kiosh Reborn playing the Sand King Ardling playing the Lina, and Eiji Swakita playing the Morphling. Meanwhile, looks like 17X is playing the Furion, Esso is playing the Tidehunter, PP is playing the Beastmaster, IZ is playing the Ancient Apparition, Mojito is playing the Syllabear, and it looks like, as you expect, with an Ancient Apparition, Lone Druid, and Beastmaster pickup, they're going to go for the low one Roshan. Looks like TA does not suspect anything, and of course Beastmaster picking up that low one of the Inner Beast, giving the Lone Druid a bit more attack speed, Furion getting some summon treants, and they're not even putting any wards, so if they get Roshan jacked, do they have any wards just to anticipate this likelihood? No, so looks like they're extremely confident. Maybe they know that TA is not the most experienced team in the book, but this level 1 Roshan is just going extremely well, and TA placing the wards pretty early on, and placing early wards, I mean, you get them more safely, but also they expire much more quickly, so you won't be able to see the 6-minute rune with this ward, and you won't be able to block off the 6-minute creep full camp with that ward. So it looks like level 1 Roshan brings up everybody to level 2.5, and I think Lone Druid picked up the Aegis of the Immortal. We'll see in a bit. No, Beastmaster picked up the Aegis Immortal. That makes most sense, just because he's probably the most hero that they're gonna give the most farm to in the early stages of the game, and he's a melee hero. He'll probably have the most difficulty in the lane if there are dual lanes. But right now, it looks like No Fear is going to run a very, very aggressive tri lane on the top lane rather than in the safe lane, and looks like there's just going to be a giant push with the Illusion Rune on the bottom lane. Mango.Esports not respecting the power of the Sand King, and Sand King can't really do anything in this lane stuff. He's just going to pop Sandstorm, but yes, be careful. Actually, no AoE, no detection, but it looks like Mango.Esports does not care at all. Glyph has already popped 45 seconds in the game, an incredible level 1 push strat. We often see Zenith running from time to time, cutting off the creep wave, getting an early tower, then solidifying back in the lanes. And after that early Roshan kill, they don't really need too much experience, but that Sandstorm does cool down. It's not a huge duration Sandstorm channeling ability like we see so often when Sandstorm is maxed out. It was only level 1 Sandstorm, so Mango IZ picks up the first blood and gets the first tower. And who is IZ? I think he is the Ancient Apparition. So Ancient Apparition is going to be filthy rich, and looks like this push strat is not going to cease it whatsoever. And how will TA respond to this? They have Lina, a pretty strong anti-pusher, but right now everybody on the Mango.Esports side is quite high leveled, especially 1 minute in the game, so they're going to have to be very, very careful. Of course, the tower will just provide a lot of backup support and damage, but it looks like Mango.Esports is just giving all sorts of zero fucks, and now Sand King's gonna have to be careful. Level 1, so he's desperately praying for level 2 so he can burrow strike out of there if things get too hype. But right now, Beastmaster Aegis allows him to take up the tower if case the bear gets too much aggro, so Sand King picks up level 2. He'll be able to burrow strike out soon enough, but still very, very threatening, very, very dangerous push. And how will TA stop this? As here comes the Anchor Smash, stunned by the Vengeful Spirit, Axe is being casted by the Beastmaster. Looks like the Cold Feet did not take out the Sand King, but Gush finishes off the Vengeful Spirit. Nicely done by Esso, and looks like Mango.Esports are just going to continue their rampage. They know there's not really too much that TA can do this early in the game, especially since they have the Roshan advantage and the level advantage. So really, really interesting strategy picked up by Mango.Esports, and can they get the Rex? Of course, they're going to be pushing up the high ground, and they have some range heroes who will do less damage, but still their level advantage, their goal advantage is going to become a bigger and bigger problem. They won't have too many shipped, only just now getting the Flying Cur and Earnest Shadow shipped towards them, but the bear is resummoned, and it's a tankier bear. Here comes the Light Strike Array, and the tree is summoned continuously by the Nature's Prophet, or by the Furon, and here comes the teleport in by Morphling. Level 4, nicely done, but he's going to just go right in the midst of everything. Casts Waveform, try to kill the Tidehunter. Morphling is going to go for everything. The strength gets cold feet as well. 2-man Burrow Strike casted by Sanking. Esso picks up Sawakita, and Arling dies as well. We're just going to call them Morphling and Lena. As it looks like Mango.Esports, they got 2 more kills. They took a bit of HP, but Sal's being popped all around. Did not take too much damage from that Roshan engagement whatsoever. And now all 5 heroes of TA desperately trying to cling to their bottom tier 3 tower. Can they defend it? I think the bear might be on cooldown. A nice light decorator catching both hero and bear. Here comes a magic missile on the Beastmaster, but he does it at Aegis Immortal. So very, very important that you have to realize. And here comes a Fable Anchor Smash being cast by the Tidehunter. Looks like I7X manages to pick off the Vengeful Spear, and Furon is the first one of Mango.Esports to fall, but he immediately buys back. He's going to teleport back in. Ancient Apparition gets cast, gets hit on by the Fade Bolt. Nicely done by the Rubik, and now the Mango.Esports push is thwarted, but Tidehunter's on their tree. Furon teleports back in. Beastmaster had the Aegis Immortal. Can he do enough damage? Morphling is morphing desperately everything to strength. Gush in a couple more hits, manages to clean up the kill. Tidehunter on a killing spree. Can Dutz get away? He's level 5 from those triple kills, and Dutz managed to get a 4th kill. Rubik's going to be incredibly farmed this early on in the game, and looks like Mango.Esports is going to retreat, but still a nice job of them getting a lot of tower gold and a lot of levels early on. But right now the level advantage is quickly climbing back in favor of both teams, and looks like a mutual suicide, mutually assured destruction by both the Furon and the Rubik, and Furon picks up a nice gold, definitely replacing his buyback gold. So wow, crazy beginnings happening already. And how will Mango.Esports decide to continue? So will they switch to a different lane? They did about half damage to this tower, and it is in danger of becoming quite low, but right now Lena's going to pick up a lot of levels, probably try to pick up Dragon Slave, and looks like they want to go immediately back on the bottom lane. Here comes Ancient Apparition and the bear. The bear's on cooldown. Spirit Bear, that is, but looks like Lone Druid is not carrying. He wants to go after the Lena, and he didn't Light Strike Array out of the trees. He could not cut down through the right tree, and Arling dies once again. Lena not going to have too strong of an anti-push this early on. Dragon Slave won't be able to do too much, and Furon with that kill on the Rubik, getting a nice bounty from that dominating streak, picked up a buckler, going to be instrumental in helping every summon get more and more pushing. Inner Beast, of course, being taken level 3. Nice build, going to give their summons a lot more damage and give their team a lot more damage in terms of bringing down this tower. But how will TA respond? Sand King has level 2 Sandstorm and the Burrow Strike, so they can definitely get more and more stuns, catch a couple heroes out of position. Rubik is level 5, he's approaching level 6, and if he can steal a very strong spell like the Cold Feet or the Gush this early in the game, especially since no team has an ultimate at this point, it's going to be pretty deadly. But it looks like Dutz is taking a lot of damage. Meanwhile, Morphling is going to be farming the top lane, going to try to provide a little bit of pressure on that top lane with Wrath of Nature, just pushing out all the waves. Morphling is going to have to try to last hit every single creep that he possibly can and just get as many aggressive items as possible. It would not serve his team to go for a defensive item this early in the game, but it looks like Mango.Esports is at a bit of a crossroads, and they are finding it more and more difficult to break through the line of TA, especially since the heroes have started to level up. And now with the score 6-9 in favor of Mango.Esports, but the heroes on TA getting more and more levels, it's going to be much more difficult to push in, especially since their all 5 heroes are pushing in on the bottom lane, so they're getting much less experience. And looks like Furon is going to be the first one to transition to the mid lane. Looks like the Mango.Esports as a team are going to push the mid lane. Meanwhile, Morphling is just going to take this farm to farm up. Should be last hitting every single creep, and he is 28-3, so nicely done by Eiji Sawakaki, or whatever his name is, by Morph. We'll just call him Morph, guys. But meanwhile, this middle tower cannot be defended. Well, Fade Bolts and Light Strike Arrays can do a lot of damage. And here comes the Telekinesis on Tidehunter. They're going to get a lot of stuns, focusing a lot of their burst damage on the Tidehunter. But he doesn't even have Ravage. Meanwhile, Ancient Apparition Boss Aves going to escape from the Morphling. Sand King running around desperately trying to do something. but still cannot do too much. Still very early on in this game. Will this tower get denied? Yes, Arling managed to get the deny off on the tower. And looks like Rubik might be in a bit of trouble. Here comes Beastmaster. He did lose the Aegis. He's going to go for immediate Vlad, so Beastmaster dies. And right now, Mango.Esports on full retreat. 2 free kills picked up by TA, and they're holding the fort very, very nicely. So what a nice bit of endurance, a nice bit of backbone shown by TA, holding off this very aggressive push strat. But still, the push strat is far from over, and since Lundred has only died once, it'll be interesting to see what he goes for. He's going to go for straight Relic. 850 gold in the bank, probably just going to go for boots and phase boots, try to get as much damage as possible. Now Rubik's level 6, any hero on the Mango.Esports, only Furon with the Wrath of Nature. Gush is going to be cast on the Vengeful Spirit. Tidehunter gets the Gush off, and Beastmaster axes down the Vengeful Spirit, executing her in the prime of her life. Such a sad way to go. But hey, she'll be back in 10 seconds. Reincarnation, so kind. Must have had good karma to be able to reincarnate so fast. Meanwhile, Sand King gonna desperately try to pick up levels, and if they can pick up level 6 on Sand King before, well, Beastmaster just hit level 6, Tidehunter hit level 6 as well, so they're gonna be facing a Roar and a Ravage, and now it's gonna be very, very, very difficult for Mango.Esports to defend as a team, especially against Ravage, since they have no tank ability items. Morphling trying to pick up whatever last hit's going to go for treads. Hopefully that might be for Yasha and Tamanta style, just so he can do some split push and get him some more offensive power. I don't know how much shotgun Morphling would do, just because he wanted him to be attacking at every point in the game. And looks like Morphling's going to be driven off the top lane, because Mango.Esports, they decided, hey, we want this top tower, and we are not going to be thwarted whatsoever in our endeavor. And Furon picks up a very early mechanism. This is going to be so huge this early on in the game, especially since Furon can teleport back in and out, get a lot of mana, get more and more mana to spam that mechanism and the treant summonings with the sprouts to back him up. But still, mana might become a little bit of an issue for the Nature's Prophet in these long drawn out engagements. But Rubik is level 6, Vengeful Spirit, not yet level 6, Lina, Lina is level 6, can you Laguna blade anybody? Here comes the Roar on Rubik, Rubik taking a bunch of damage, but looks like Vengeful Spirit is the first one to fall, Gush cleaning up all the way, and Roar is the only spell on cooldown that's an alternate spell. It looks like the Bear is going to get an Entangle, and that cool beast. Was there an Orb of Venom? There was an Orb of Venom on the Bear. Mojito picks up a double kill, nicely done, but Sand King channels the epicenter, gonna pick off the Beastmaster, but that's it. Morphling gonna try to go for the Furon, a couple more hits, one more hit, but it looks like Morphling's gonna be thwarted. Here comes Ice Blast, gonna regain, or completely nullify all the HP regen of Morph, and Mango.Esports gonna completely thwart the efforts of TA, and I think they still have Ravage. No, they did use Ravage. How could I miss giant spikes protruding from the ground? But Ravage, Ice Blast, and Roar just becoming such a big problem for TA, and the Orb of Venom slowing down the Rubik, allowing the Bear to get in position for one last Entangle. One more Entangle, that's all it takes. But still, they lost the tower. Can TA even hold on? That's going to be a very interesting question as we transition. It's going to really come down to this Morphling, how he's farming. Picks up the Magic Wand, going to go for treads. Or has picked up the treads, going to go for Magic Wand, but Roshan immediately going to be jumped on by the Mango.Esports team, and now TA know that Roshan is going to be engaged upon. They know 10 minutes in the game as they see the hero movement. Can they kill the Bear? Here comes the Burrow Strike, nicely placed by the Sand King. Ice Blast stolen by the Rubik. Nice spell to steal, and Laguna Blade picks up the kill, so Bear is not having too good of a time, but still Bear, not too important in these engagements, just sort of a meat shield. And if he can respond in time, but looks like TA is completely aware of the Roshan being taken. And it looks like Rubik is going to go for a fast mechanism. Rubik is going to get roared. Can they get... Yes, he costed the access, so he can't steal the roar. And it looks like Ice Blast is going to be able to pick up the kill. Esso with the Gush. And here comes Lina. Ravage is still on cooldown. Can Sandstring get a Burrow Strike? Laguna Blade is on cooldown. The long casting point of Light Stack Array. Did Lone Druid buy back? No, he did not. But looks like Lina buys back. They do not want to leave anything to chance. But still, I don't know if they can stop this Roshan, especially since Furon can summon some trees very, very soon. And I like what Mango.Esports is doing. They're just trying to pick up as much tank. But Burrow Strike catching 4 or all 5 heroes. But Kraken Shell proccing in the nick of time. Going to slow down Sand King. But here comes Morphling, going to be able to pick up 2 kills right off the bat. Going to definitely go a long way in terms of funding his next big item. Furon dies as well. And now Tidehunter is in for a world of hurt. Can he die to the Roshan? No, 4 for nothing picked up by Mango.Esports. Londra is the only survivor, popping the ultimate. And nice recovery by TA. Gonna hold off the Roshan and try to pick up as many levels as possible. That's instrumental in terms of funding Morphling's gold. And of course, Lina getting a lot of experience, gonna help her and a lot of assist gold gonna help her recover from that buyback. But still, if you pick up 4 kills for nothing and you're trying to hold off a mid-game aggressive pushing lineup, then hey, 4 kills is definitely a worthy price to pay for your buyback. So what will Morphling decide to go for? 900 gold in the bank. Will he pick up a Blade of Alacrity to go for straight Manta style? That would be the item I'd go for in my situation, but Furion just being as Furion does, so annoying to deal with. Gonna split push any teleports in to help. And can TA even pick off the spawn tier 1 tower? They were trying so desperately, but Kyoshi Reborn is going to be the first one to fall, and here comes the bear. A couple more hits, and here comes Aura Venom. Rubik is going to be slowed, and one more hit. Here's the second hit in Tangle, not first hit, so Rubik's not going to be trolled as that hard, but still Rubik is going to be the next one to fall, and Mango Mojito does die, and now the Mango.Esports, or Mango Mojito mix up the kill. Lone Druid picking up a lot of gold, going for a Ring of Health, probably going for straight pipe, or just for a Vanguard, just to get as tanky as possible. So they really want to try to out-tank the other team, just try to provide them with a lot of pressure through their summons. And of course that level 4 of the Inner Beast being so helpful. Furion's going to teleport in. We'll see if Furion decides to go for a fast Necrobook to help them augment the pushing. Yes, he is going to go for a fast Necrobook just to do that. And Morphling is desperately trying to farm, trying to push out all the ways, but still that tower was so desperately wanted by the TA squad, they could not be able, they were not able to pick it up. Beastars is going to pick up the Aegis once again, finish the Vlads. Tyler has an urn and a Staff of Wizardry because he's picked up a lot of kills. H-Staff Pushing his Arcane Boots helping fund the mana pool of his teammates. And Silbear probably going to go for Vanguard or a Hood. Probably a Hood against the Lina and the Morphling waveform damage. But now it looks like Mango.Esports, so they're going to fight the bottom lane. They know the tower's at half HP. They don't want to have to take down another tier 2 tower. But still, only one tier 2 tower remains, so maybe it would be advisable, but no, they just want to go for it. They know the last time they had the Aegis, they were able to take off half HP, and now they're highly leveled. They have the Ravage, they have Wrath of Nature, they have Ice Blast, so now it's going to be very, very difficult to bring down the team fight, but Rubik's going to kill the mid tier 1 tower. Does he have the mechanism? Rubik has to stay very far back. He does not have the mechanism. This is going to be very, very unfortunate. Of course, Ice Blast does counter the mechanism quite hard, but still, if he stays far back and he just outlasts the Ice Blast, no, he picks up the mechanism. Sand King's going to be the first one installed. Vengeful Spirit going to swap him out, but a Ravage is going to catch multiple here. It looks like Morphling is going to try to wave in. Picked up that Blade of Alacrity, but it looks like No Fear is going to be the first one to fall. Tidehunter taking a bunch of damage. Tidehunter is not the hero you want to be focusing, especially since he's already used the Ravage. Beastars is in a lot of trouble. He does have the Aegis Immortal. Lena's going to get trapped in the Entangle, and now Morphling is going to have to try to distract as long as possible. Mojito picks up a triple kill. Morphling is the next one to fall, and now looks like TA is just going to crumble under this relentless pressure by Mango.Esports. Gonna finally pick off a Rex. What a crazy game. Nice strategy picked up by Mango.Esports, clearly capitalizing on the experience of the TA squad. We're not expecting the level 1 Roshan, even though they had a Furion, AA, Beastmaster, and Silver. Perfect level 1 Roshan heroes. I mean, I guess if they picked up a Lich, they might have gone for the Roche Fit, but still. But it's not over just yet. Silver is going to get swapped in. He's quite tanky. He's level 9, but he has 500 HP. Laguna Blade Fadeable being casted all the while. Looks like Silver might take the bomb, and Burrow Strike is going to be able to kill up the Silver. And looks like No Fear ZVR, the Vengeful Spirit, picked up that killing spree. Vengeful Spirit under the effects of Shatter, but still will be able to survive long enough to get back to the fountain and wait a couple seconds before she starts healing up. You know, Morphling gonna try to go for that fast Manta style, but as you see right now, he's very squishy, but still, I think Manta style is the appropriate choice. You can't really out-tank the side of a Silver and a Beastmaster this highly leveled, so you have to try to out-DPS, try to put out as much damage as possible. Hopefully you won't be focused. So Morphling desperately trying to do whatever he can, but right now the pressure is just becoming a huge issue. It's still 15-24, nice resilience shown by TA. 39 kills in 16 minutes in the game, my god. So many kills, and we'll just check out the items since there's a little bit of the action. Mango.Esports content with the racks, so they're just going to heal up. Looks like Decisive is going to go for a Necrobook. Tidehunter is going to go for a Necrobook. Furion's already picked up a Necrobook. Because Lone Druid's just like, nah, I'm too cool for school. Not going to pick up that Necrobook. Meanwhile, Vengeful Spirit is going to try to finish Treads. Treads looks like the ultimate item choice. Kyoshi Reborn, or Kyosh Reborn, is going to pick up a couple Bracer and the Arcane Boots. Blink Dagger is not too important, just because he can stay in the background, try to channel his Epicenter. but I don't even know if a Blink Dire Epicenter will be able to do too much. But still, Sand has been able to do a lot of nice burrow strikes, but still, it's not enough to slow down the relentless marching power of Mango.Esports. Morphling going to try to pick up a kill on Fear, and can he get the wave for him? But looks like 100's here for the support, and yep, Morphling's just going to have to wave out of there, and he's just going to try to teleport out. One more hit, first hit, entangle, very unfortunate for the Morphling, and wait, Morph is going to be casted, he's out of mana, and Morph is just feeling so sad at this point, because he got first hit entangled. What a bastard. Silver, you bastard. Why you gotta troll so hard? 100's picked up the pipe. It's going to be so difficult to stop this push, so looks like the TA squad just going to push as hard as possible, but they're not going to be able to put enough damage on this tier 2 tower before they have to teleport back, and yes, they're going to start the teleport trains already. Can they pick off a creep wave at the very least? No, they're going to have to back up, because the relentless push towards the Rex is going to continue on 100, very close level, and but still, if he hits all in the team fight and he starts morph back, maybe that's a small opening that TA can capitalize, just so he can get that extra HP boost to morph back into the original form and then morph back. But still, look at the demolish damage by the bear, just melting that tower. Fear on damage, and the Inner Beast pipe being casted. Looks like Ice Blast and Ravage being casted. Sand King is going to be the first one to fall, and Rubrik's taking a lot of damage from the Necro minions, and Bear's just going to scare everybody away. So Kyosh Reborn seems to be the only casualty, but no, the Racks are going to be the next casualty. All the ultimates are in cooldown, but still time to probably immediately cast a Gush or Anchor Smash, so Rubik could not steal that Ravage. And now it looks like TA cannot do too much. Morphling's going to wave in there, but still one more Entangle holding Morphling in place. This Morphling just going to get mana burn, morphed over and over again, taking so much damage, but still he wouldn't have been able to finish the Linked Sphere at this point in the game, unless he just skipped the treads and the Aquila and all that. But the top racks fall as well. Mango.Esports have not even lost their Aegis. No, they lost their Aegis on the Beastmaster. My bad. But still, the Necrobooks are going to start to be upgraded, and that's going to become a big issue. 2 is picked up on Fearin, 1 is picked up on Beastmaster, 1 is picked up on the Tidehunter, and AA playing the dutiful support. Wouldn't surprise. Yes, he's picked up 1 as well. He does not want to be. Looks like the Silver Bear is a rebel. He's too cool to pick up a Necrobook. He says, I don't need your crappy minions. I have a bear. And what can you do against a bear? Not too much, apparently. TA can't do too much against a bear. But looks like a team fight is breaking out. Prophet is the first one to fall, and it's Epicenter's channel for the full duration. But here comes a roar casted on the Vengeful Spirit. Gonna change stun down the Beastmaster. Nice team fight taken. Clearly, Mango.Esports is not expecting a team fight to be taken outside the base, but nice engagement. But still, Arling is... or Kyoshi Reborn is going to take the fall. Now Arling is going to be in a lot of trouble. Bear is going to chase him down, and looks like Arling is going to take the fall as well. Fearin bought back and is going to teleport back in, try to get back in the team fight as soon as possible, and just join his allies saying, I didn't actually die, guys. I didn't actually die. So, Fearin playing these mind games with his own team and with the enemies, and now the lanes are being pushed in, and I don't think TA can hold on for much longer. They're going to be pressured by all 3 lanes. Morphling going to try to pick up whatever farm he can, but all these creeps going to give him minuscule amounts of gold. And now, I think Ravage is on cooldown, but still, the tank ability and the pipe will be up. Ice Blast will be up as well, so it's going to be very difficult for the Mango.Esports to not take a Rax. But here comes the Burrow Strike by the Sand King. 100's taking a lot of damage. Can they chain him down? He's so tanky. Swap gonna get him back in. Looks like 100's gonna be next one to fall. Nice job by TA, showing so much resilience. You really gotta respect him for that. 2 racks down, and only 20 minutes in the game, but still having the composure, knowing that, hey, we want to qualify for the GEST, want to get our names out there. I don't think TA is an actual sponsor name since they're not playing under a tag. It's probably just their team name, but still, they want to get a sponsorship, represent the Indonesian Dota 1 scene. And right now, if they scouted out the low and Roche, I think they might have been okay. They might have been able to hold out some of the pushes, but just the early level advantage from that low and Roshan and the ability for Beastmaster to just charge in, giving 0 fucks, really hurt the TA squad. But now, I guess next time they know, Bear and Fearon and Beastmaster gonna have to watch out for a level 1 Roche strat, and at least place a ward there. But still, TA desperately trying to hold on with every ounce of strength they possibly can muster. Yasha picked up by the Morphling, gonna try to go for a Manta style, but still, it's gonna be very difficult for that to do too much because the Morphling illusions won't be able to pump out too much damage. Of course, it's gonna be instrumental in pushing and counter pushing, but still, it's not gonna be the best item in team fights. But still, it is item that I'd go for. And looks like Morphling is picking up a Glove's pace. Gonna try to maximize his DPS because he knows the push is coming in very, very soon. Looks like Necrobook levels are wanted to be picked up on all sides. Level 2 picked up by the Fearon and the Tidehunter. So, looks like Ancient Apparition is going to take up. Looks like Mango.Esports might know the game is up. Smoker Deceit. And Bear is taking a lot of damage. He's going to be the first one to fall. Burrow Strike catching in. And it looks like the Morphling right click damage is not enough. Wait for him as the pipe is allowing the Bear to survive so long. Just in time for Tide to catch a Ravage. Catching 4 people. Ice Blast doing so much damage. Ravage cast by the Rubik as well. Just to delay the onset. And Dutz picks up Mango Mojito in the midst of all that, killing the Bear. But now it looks like TA is on full retreat. Burrow Strike to catch the Tidehunter. And looks like Sandstorm. But looks like Sand King might be in a lot of trouble as he is just caught between a rock and a hard place. Can he escape? Burrow Strike out of there? No, he's just going to go back in for a stun, knowing he's surely screwed. But now, nicely done by Sand King, trying to desperately hold off whatever attempt he can from delaying this push, but Sand King's going to be down for the next 30 seconds. Meanwhile, Bear only has 10 seconds left on his survival time, and they don't even need the Bear. They have so many Necrobooks to spawn in. And was Earthshaker a ban? I don't think Earthshaker was actually a ban, and that might have cost TA potential anti-push because Morphling's taking a bunch of damage. Shattered ticks in conjunction with that Anchor Smash, and now the metal barracks are fully exposed. And once the Druid comes in with the tank ability, once he pops the pipe, it'll be very difficult. But he's making his slow, steady march onto that mid lane, checking the rune all the while, checking Roshan just to say what's up, Rosh. If we weren't killing the middle barracks, we'd be coming for you, so be grateful. We all tied up to cast a Gush on the Rubik, but still the middle lane barracks taking so much damage. A level 13 Rubik and a Midas not going to be enough. Still don't know about Midas versus Necrobooks, but I guess it's an easy way to kill him. Arling picks up IZ, but looks like No Fear, the Vengeful Spirit, is the next one to fall. And here comes the Bear. He's so tanky. It's going to drive everyone back. And looks like PP types some unrecognizable language. Sand King channels a huge upser. Not able to do anything though. Everybody's too tank. So GG's called by TA. What a strategy used by Mango.Esports. And nice composure by TA, making it close in the kill score, even if it's not close in the final score. They took a tower. They took 2 towers. Dang, 2 towers, man. 2 whole towers. But they showed a lot of resiliency. Definitely did not give up after they lost the top 2 barracks. They took some team fights in some unexpected locations, helped draw out the inevitable. This team fight definitely helped TA hold on for a little bit longer, give them a little bit of hope, but unfortunately they did not have enough counter pushing, and actually they had solid counter pushing. They had Lina, they had Morphling, they had Sand King, they had Rubik, they had Vengeful Spirit to swap out the primary pusher, but still I think the level 1 Roshan just nullified so much of the level edge. Imagine if all 5 heroes were pushing out the tower at level 1 rather than at level 2.5. That means your heroes would be getting more and more experience, allowing them to level up faster, and they'll be out-leveling the side of Mango.Esports. But that level 1 Roshan just really crippled. They allowed Mango.Esports to pick up level 3 at about a minute and a half in the game, or probably just around a minute. Sand King died first blood because of Sandstorm duration, not long enough. He should have probably just Burrow Striked and ran the heck out of there, but still want to slow down the push as much as possible. But that level 1 Roshan really killed TA's chance of coming back in this game, but otherwise TA played quite solidly. They made some mistakes. Both teams made a couple mistakes, but right now, nice strategy used by Mango.Esports. Really creative to just relentless push, something we haven't seen too often, except by Zenith, Navi, and some of the old school DTS, and BG versus Aeon CG, Aeon SG, that 5-man push strat with the Dirge. What a game. But still nicely done, and hopefully this is a good enough warm-up so you can all get hyped for GEST August. This has been B-Ballin', and hopefully you all enjoyed this commentary. I'll be bringing you more Dota 1 replays in the very near future. But as always, thank you all for watching, and have a fantastic day.